right, so I'm in the Halloween mood. I hope you are. Welcome back to Sarah's Spare Corner. My name is Sarah. I am the host of Sarah's Spare Corner. Sarah's Spare Corner encompasses gaming as well as arts, crafts, and various different forms of creativity. Additionally, I like sharing theories, concepts, and ideas as I am a philosophy major. And when I'm not poor, I might travel places and I might post about it. Right now, I'm kind of on a overall channel pause, or maybe not like an overall one. I'm just mostly paused on streaming. Kind of needing a little bit of peace of mind right now. I am definitely a little overworked. So here comes this project, because even though projects might seem overwhelming, one thing I like about crafts is they make you pause and think about your decisions. They make you kind of breathe in as you're pondering. And I don't think I get that really from streaming. So originally my idea was, well, what if I just pool them all together like that? Didn't work. And then I was like, okay, well, what if I tie individual pieces and then based on this tying, I can connect them? Nope. That didn't work either, as you will see. But I was really hoping for the cheater's way through this because, you know, I didn't know how long the other option would have taken. So, well, it didn't work. So here we're going to start in a couple of seconds, the other option. But I will tell you a little thing quickly before we move on from this bathroom to the next room. I have plans for my bathroom to be a little bit more dark, a little bit more spooky, gloomy, maybe ghost inspired. So I have a shower curtain coming in. It's like a black shower curtain with like a haunted house on it. It's a white haunted house. Then I want to buy a coffin floor mat. I think that would be very cute. I do have a little candle holder. You can't see it here. That is for a tea light, and it is basically like the Grim Reaper sitting down, you know, just cross-legged, just hanging out. So that's kind of what I want to go with for my bathroom versus like the kitchen, which is just more autumn inspired, and then the living room, which is a cross between both Halloween and autumn. But the bathroom is going to be definitely more spooky. And I know that, like, you know, technically I could, you know, just do this for a month. But, like, technically I'm going to do this all the way into November, because even though I know Christmas comes shortly afterwards, I mean, why not, you know? Like, what reason do we stop decorating for Halloween just because Christmas is around the corner? Besides, for most people, Christmas lasts like half a year. Anyways, so here's what the other option is that I came up with. Of course, I got to chow down on a fortune cookie first. So I took some really disgusting hemp rope. And I say disgusting because it smells ungodly. Like, it smells like a dead animal. Thanks, Michaels. I guess. So my idea was, yes, to hot glue on the rope and then add this sphagnum moss that I bought from Dollar Tree and glue it on all the way around the rope so that it would be a solid base to add the flowers to. And thankfully that idea worked. But as I was doing it, I knew it would work too, because I knew that these flowers probably needed a little bit more push to work with. And I've worked with sphagnum moss on other Halloween projects before. Obviously not this one. Well, yes, this one. What am I saying? This is what I'm talking about. This is why I need a break. Anyways, so I knew what to expect when it came to working with sphagnum moss, because I've worked with it before. So I'm like, oh, I know that this is how it's going to end. And this is something that I kind of said in the short version of this, but since we have a little bit of time to chat here, I'd like to add this in now. The only difference of what makes someone creative and what makes someone not creative is just time. Creativity is a skill. It's not something that you're just naturally good at. There might be people who are naturally interested in creativity more than others, but anyone can create anything. Even businesses in its own form is creativity. So here's the other option. I was like, well, what if I just, like, you know, attach the full because they're basically like little hand bouquets. So instead I decided to chop them off individually, and that would have been easier to work with. And it actually was the better decision I made. When it comes to creativity, really what we need is just one, patience for ourselves. Because there are times where we're going to do things and maybe we're not feeling confident about it, but we do have an inkling of what we want to go to. Now, sometimes there's things to be said about patience. Again, patience also requires breaks. You know, this isn't like a construction project where you can just cut everything and it'll line up perfectly. Oftentimes with my painting, with my crafts, I know that if I keep working, it will mess up. So actually, I ended up going for dinner at some point. In fact, I think that's what just happened now. Because I knew that my brain wasn't functioning and I needed patience for myself and I needed to take care of my body. Now, was it the healthiest dinner? No. But I still ate something. And that gave me the motivation to keep going and finish this. So all I would say is, if you're new to crafting, if you're interested in crafting, but you're unsure of yourself, or if you are a crafter, just take a break once in a while. Give yourself some grace, because really all that makes good artists are the skill difference. Some people have just spent more hours doing this, but if you're new to this, then how many hours do you really have in? Not much, but you need to start somewhere, right? That's what I think. I have this coworker that I am, because I'm a supervisor now, I've been looking over, and I said to them, you know, I know that you feel uncomfortable by all these crafts I'm asking you to do, but at the same time, I know that you can do it. And I know that you have an interest in it as well. But also, like, you know, you're being paid for this. You have to do this. But I basically said, you know, all you need is just the skills. And some people haven't developed the skills. And that's okay, because maybe they're focusing on other things. I've had a lot of time to work with, for example, sphagnum moss. I've worked on it in several different years on Halloween, or for Halloween projects. So I knew what to expect when I was gluing sphagnum moss on a hemp rope. I knew it would work. And I knew that and you can see this here, when I put a piece down, I can use the bottom side of that sphagnum moss to wrap around the item to hold it in place. And you can see this as I'm like, it looks like I'm rolling. And in a way I kind of am, because I'm wrapping the sphagnum moss, boy, it's definitely getting late, sphagnum moss around the flower, the leaves, to hold it in place, and then I glue it down. And that is literally how easy this is. And all these items, except for my glue gun, which I think might have been purchased at a Hobby Lobby years ago by my mother, and the hemp rope from Michael's, again, thanks, I guess. But all the flowers, the sphagnum moss, all these like little leaf pieces. You'll also see a couple of like other knick-knack pieces, like I think there's a sparkly spider I put in there somewhere. These are all from the Dollar Tree. I didn't spend that much money on this. And in fact, it looks kind of better than the Garland Michaels gives you. And this was just from a bathroom piece. So I would encourage you to try something new. If you see garlands online and you're like, man, I really want to try something out, but I can't afford it, but I also don't know where to start. This is a great way to start, because I guarantee there is probably some burlap rope at the Dollar Tree. If you don't have a glue gun, you can always use super glue, although that one would be a little bit more messy. I would say if you use a hot glue gun, just make sure you're careful and you know the temperature of your glue gun. I know my temperature of my glue gun is not too hot, so I can easily touch it without burning myself. But if you don't know yours, I would say just be careful. Make sure that you have enough tubes of hot glue. I have plenty. And just eye it, really. I know that maybe you don't trust yourself to eye it, but trust me, your eye is better than anybody else's because you know exactly what you want, right? So you know what to place where. And the color schemes are really up to you. If you're not even sure about the color choices, you can always Google Halloween colors and pick something within the palette that it gives you, because perhaps maybe you're not, used to color association. I paint, so I do, but again, it's a developed skill that we can all work to do. Anyways, so for this particular piece, because I was going for more black, I was trying to find pieces where there was still a little bit more spookiness in there, and I did end up at some point just saving some pieces off to the side. There's a couple of, I don't know if you can see it, but on the left hand, there's like these red pieces that kind of look like feather pieces. Those ones ended up going for my fireplace piece, which honestly, it's not much of a piece. I kind of cheated, kind of just added pieces. This one is like real heart and joy and love in it. Whereas the one on my fireplace, it was kind of like, oh, this piece from Michael's, I'll use that and just wrap some dollar store flowers around it and call it a day. But this one, I actually individually pieced everything. I glued it together, and it looks way better than one on my fireplace. The only thing I didn't hand do was the lights, which we'll be seeing shortly. Yes. Anyway, so you can kind of see that roll there. And I think at this point, I'm starting to think, I'm just trying to find those like little end pieces that it definitely looks like they're a bit bare in some sections. But I also realized that at some point, like, even if some spots are bare, it's okay, because there's gonna be lights on this thing. And also, it kind of adds a bit of character that you can still see the sphagnum moss. Because, again, we're not worried about, like, a plastic rope that like normal garlands have. Our garland is covered in burlap. So there's a little bit of character there that it's okay if it shines through. And then I guess at some point I also asked myself, do I really want to do like both sides? Because I do have enough pieces. I just don't know if I want to. So I kind of just decided I would just focus on the one side, especially because I only had enough like purple and black roses for only one side. And yeah, and this is where I start going in with the flowers. So I think what I end up doing is I pull out the roses. They're on basically stems, so I took them off their plastic wire stem and then glued down the leaf portion that came with the stem, and then glued the flower to the stem, the leaf down. So it looks like there's a little bit more natural foliage. Again, black roses, purple roses, isn't that natural? No, not really. And in fact, it's even more unrealistic that the leaves are black, but it's cute, right? I mean, at least I think I do, but this is my project. You can make it any way you want. If you think it's tacky, there's black roses and purple roses, then make it any color you want, my friend. One time I went for a painting class, literally my first painting class. It was at Michael's when they still had painting classes. And the teacher was so horrified that I painted a black rose. And my mom stood up for me. She's like, well, if she wants a black rose, like, let her. But I was like, my God, I thought we were just trying things out. Like, she was so horrified that she's like, there's no black roses on the original painting. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. And so my mom was like, well, if she wants a black rose, she can have a black rose. So if you're the kind of person that would be horrified by a black rose, do what you want. It's your garland. This is my garland in my bathroom. And now I'm taking you to the bathroom. So I already nailed in the spots of where I want it to hang. And I'm just kind of readjusting the way I want it to look. And I am pretty happy with the way it looks. And so here I have finally come back from Walmart. And I am finally adding the purple lights. Oh my goodness, it looks so good at the end. I'm so excited. I'm pretty sure this color adjustment is going to look wrong though, so I'm probably going to correct the color because it's going to show up as red, and it's not red, it's purple. But the recording be like, oh look, it's red. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a lovely afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye now.